me to put the pop in there now?
Yes, but divvy it up, like orange, Pepsi, like, you know what I mean? Make sure the top stick out.
Yeah, not just two.
So now, are you gonna,
And again, are you a kid that drinks
so you're gonna scan?
No.
Yeah, like I guess I just have it on the podium at the moment, but
I
I
drink
can
the
open it up
orange
wide and scan it every now and then. I guess.
The one that ran that, or the one that went out of business.
Is that?
Yeah, I guess I've seen it.
I drink that.
No, I'll show you what that is, yeah.
Every other,
Hey, that's pretty cool.
any other.
Done it a few times before.
I'll drink like the occasion.
Okay, so you
I brought almost everything I need.
Well, I'm a year and a couple months from being there.
Oh, I'm sure that stops. How old are you? You're
17.
You're 7.
I'm turning in the summer.
So do you work for,
I'm year 17.
That's why I said I don't think you're not very
I do video production.
I'm also very
audio
French.
recording and stuff.
So, I mean, for us, it was normal at, 9 years old, to get a glass of wine with dinner. That's what we drank a lot. We used to like half, this is really gross, half ginger ale, half wine.
Yeah, sure.
That's what the French do. That's how they
I
get
don't
the
have a
French
printer
beer.
on me, but I can give you my info.
I never said yes. All right,
Mom's
I'm
not really. I don't think Dad really cares. Dad was saying he was like, over here or something, and all of a sudden, he'll just laugh at me. So I mean, I don't really think he cares.
See, in my house, how we are with the kids, is we tell the kids, because they're underage, we're completely okay if you're at home doing it.
Yeah.
But we don't, just because if you get caught at this, you have to trust. If you're at home with us, then you can have a few times, we don't care. Because we know you're doing it when you're outside the house. So I'd rather
Doing it in a safe way.
that's right, I'd rather be able there to watch it, and we haven't called their friends over, because that's our house, we're the, well,
Yeah.
as long as we have parental consent.
You're the cool.
That's right. As long, and we make
Just
sure
a heads
parents
up, we
call
are
us first,
online,
let us
so
know they're
everybody
okay
can
with
hear
the kids
everything
being
that
over.
people are saying.
Let's grab a few Pepsis.
I mean, I can,
So
but I
we'll find a way to
upstairs,
show them and
so for audio and stuff,
Okay.
good.
For now, I'm gonna
But it is live on.
Set those on,
Okay, now.
yeah, cause
FYI, right now for this test, everything is live, so whatever you're saying is being heard upstairs in Boston.
Mill River is the best resort in all of Prince Edward Island. Exactly. I love working here. Come to our job fair at some point.
That's right.
How was that, Elijah?
It's perfect. So just the three in our hockey, Valley, Evangeline, and Alberta?
I think so. I'll double check. Make sure. I'm gonna go see if I can find it. Double check on that. Do you want a beer or something?
No.
Good. You want a water?
There you go.
Now explain anything?
Just doing 2 lines. Yeah. Thanks for your time, Melanie. No, I'm not. Yeah, I didn't pay attention yesterday. It's just game, so I hate, I'm not passionate. It boils my blood, but I just couldn't give Andrews any more money. I just can't do it. I thought you shaft a little bit there, and I was like, no, I just can't do
So
it.
the 2 lines on Andrews?
It is and it isn't. It's that loop there. They're still paying money to Andrews, for sure they're getting some of it, but it's like $240. Couldn't imagine paying $900 for what we were getting last year, but can't do it. And then I was really disappointed. I didn't think Darcy Harris would do that to us. We had, well, like what you guys dealt through. There was 12 of us that were together, like, since novice. And I know some changed, but this year they took 4, and out of the 4, 2 of them deserved to be there. The other 2, it was complete transfer, and that bothered me. And I knew that. I said, we didn't do summer camp.
Years.
Oh, I know. And they really didn't do summer camp last summer. They're just like, no, too much money. $1,000 in a week. Like, I can't do it. I just, because for us, that's $1,000 plus another 1,000. We either stay or we travel over there. I'm like, no, can't do it now. And I knew, I said, if we don't do one, we're going to be cut next year. All 4 didn't do camp, I'll cut. And then the 4 that never played, and we played against those boys all winter, knowing that we were, not saying we're better, but we're every bit as good. So if, like you would do it, or I'm sure, those are your guys you had all the time. If you're even, I mean, Nash outplayed a couple of them, for sure this winter, and I'm just like, that's not
Hello.
All right.
Hey,
Great, how are
looks
you?
awesome.
Good.
It does look good, hey?
It does.
I was just seeing if the balloon arch like actually survived.
The travel, the travel.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome, okay. And there's no totes up there.
So are you down here or upstairs?
Upstairs. Upstairs.
It's just the players in here, is it?
Players, coaches, and the hockey PEI. And I think that's it. Yeah. I think it's live streamed upstairs.
Yeah. That's what the camera.
That's just too boring for me to watch. I don't have any patience for stuff like that. I was never a person for stuff like this. Sarah, that's.
Who's supposed to MC? Whoever's supposed to MC.
Oh, you're MCing?
Yeah. Whoever's supposed to MC that has COVID, I guess, said it.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I
Connor
they
asked
said
me
who
2
it
days
was.
ago,
I
said
understand.
he wouldn't be available to MC for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll do it.
Awesome. You coming up or are you staying
Yeah,
down?
Melvin popped in shortly too.
Okay.
Yep. No, it's all good. The poles are up.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
I thought it was in Connor's looking for it.
Oh, is he? Connor and then he had a rough weekend.
Rough what?
I think he had a rough weekend or a pretty day anyway.
Rough
I think,
weekend?
I think they were almost scared to be there. And I don't blame them, there's been a lot of shit go down. Because they fucking walked in the door and they fucking.
Hi, Ivan, can you hear me?
Social media.
Hi.
Hey!
Hey, why don't you guys say something into the camera? We want to see if we can hear it up in the bar.
Alrighty. I'll say hi.
Okay? And you are?
Tina.
Tina, I know you're Mike.
Phil.
Phil.
Phil. Oh, close.
He's not
I'm
Mike.
using the mic.
Oh, you're the Mike. I called you Mike before. You seem to go with it.
No,
Yeah, there you
I
are.
thought you were saying the mic.
He's the MC.
Ah,
He will be
yes.
on the mic.
Mike, the MC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you try the mic and see if they can hear it, or?
No, we're live.
Does that cut through to there?
No.
Testing 1 2, testing 1 2.
But that, yes, that mic is for this room. This is to live stream to the
That's
TV
what I mean.
upstairs.
I'm just wondering if they can
Oh,
hear,
yeah.
hear
Yeah,
what
they'll
I'm
hear it
saying.
through there because it's her closest
Okay.
speaker. Speaker's right there.
So, we'll know in shortly.
There you go.
We have visual, for sure.
Good.
1 out of 2 ain't bad, right?
Not bad at all. They're gonna be drinking too much up there. It doesn't know they're like,
Parents?
fuck, I got someone. What's the grandmother's? Probably in her 70s. Not even, probably 75 at the time. She was there and the daughter was standing next to her. She said, what's a Slurpee? We're gonna sip and slurp. I said, oh, you're having oysters. Oh, God, my husband's not here. Hope that doesn't end bad for me, she says. Hey,
What's going on?
not too much. And their mother, the
That's a
daughter,
gift, and Chloe will do it.
the daughter slapped. Mom, don't be like that. have spent $20 at Sheen or something. Yeah, so I was hoping that we would get another something hockey, and I know there is for the younger years. There's some tenacity doing a few things for the younger groups, but there's nothing like that today. But I almost want to puke when I see Two Line. I'm like, ugh, they learn nothing. Bad habits. Bothers me if they don't. Yep.
Tennessee doesn't have it either.
Not that age group, no.
Is he second year PU?
First.
That was the first year,
Yeah.
so minor PU didn't have minor
They don't have anything like that. It's just two coaches, their kids' ages. There's only 2 teams, I think, for that group or whatever. And they're not even called tenacity, but that's the coaches that coach with them. It's like certain days that took it on and kind of just have gone.
Jeff Lyric's got a team, does he?
That's maybe one name. And then there's another one. I know Kevin Sullivan's helping, but it's another guy that's coaching it. There might be 3 teams actually. And something tells me that you used to have a coach, Nathan. I think he took on a team too for his little club.
Nathan Drudge?
Yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. I just don't like paying money for too long.
The hockey season's gone so long this year too.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
usually done, same as school sports, like basketball is usually done the first week of March. And
Yeah, yeah.
just finished last week or whatever.
And head first into Badminton now.
Yeah.
And then flag football starts with 3
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
Test, 1, 2, test, 1, 2, test.
Trying to figure out if they can hear him in the car.
Yeah. But geez, it's all good. Your crew is all good?
Yeah. I was just down in Mexico.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I got back last week ago Thursday. Wish I was still there.
You enjoy it?
Up down there.
Mexico's one place I never enjoyed very much.
You there?
Yeah, is there twice?
Riviera Maya?
Nope. Never in Mexico. Okay. Cancun the first time.
Cancun's more than Denver for that.
It's not even I didn't like it. I just found it was too busy. When I go on vacation, I want to be on vacation. I don't want to do
I
shit.
didn't do anything. I laid around the pool every day.
Yeah, I like to go on an excursion or two, but again, I don't want to go to a city.
I didn't even do that this year. The girls, my wife and daughter Bronwyn and girlfriend of hers from Newfoundland,
Yeah.
they came, so they went to Shauha, which was only 10 minutes from our resort. I had
Yeah.
already been to Shauha. So I'm not spending a day that's 29 degrees running around.
Yeah. We always go
Zip
snorkeling
lining
season.
and
We usually
stuff.
go snorkeling.
Yeah, that's
Harper loves to
my
snorkel.
wife likes to snorkel too.
We usually try to get a resort with snorkel on it, and then we go out for one excursion for a good day of snorkeling, and it's usually all good.
Pretty well done most of it. Xcaret and Shauha and Tulum and the
Yeah.
ruins.
If you've been there before, too, you've already seen, like, it's like Dominican, we went 9 times now. I think I could drive there myself, drive everywhere I need to go.
Never been to Dominican.
Went to Cuba once, hated every minute of it.
I've never been to Cuba. Wife's been there a couple times. She said the biggest difference is the food is so much better in Mexico.
Yeah, the food wasn't good, but I just found you were always being looked at. Like they're, and if you went out in public at all with Neil or her blonde hair and blue eyes, they want to eat you almost. Like they're like touching her, like, this is fucking weird. But just because of her the long hair and blue eyes, it freaks me out. It almost gave me the creeps. I was like, okay, this is weird.
Kenny and Bonnie have come down with us a couple times. They were actually going to go this year too,
Yeah.
but then we couldn't go.
Testing, 1, 2, check. Checking the audio. Can you hear me? 1, 2, testing. Testing the mic. 1, 2, testing, check. Checking the mic. Checking the mic. See if you can hear me. Maybe, hopefully it works, but we will see. Check. Checking test. Check. Coming back upstairs.
Yes, he was.
We were having one of our provincials there. Might have been in the fall, maybe
Soccer.
soccer or something. Since he done school, he was
UB, Scores were mostly online, all the day, on silliness. Harper just finished school today, not yesterday. And he's leaving, he got a full-time job starting Monday in Nova Scotia. Turbines. He's gonna be traveled that way, that's what he does. So he's gonna be here for about a month to finish up his training. And then Ontario. Ontario, probably come home for 3 months, get a nice move or a nice date. And then nice that you go away and give him some love, but like, he has no idea what it's about. He likes to eat. So he'll realize pretty quick when it's $40 every time he sits by the table.
Just another 5 minutes.
So he gets telling him about to eat. He's like, oh, I'm gonna eat $20 and pop the rest. I'm like, you're really $20. He'll spend about $30 a meal. It's like, no, I can't imagine it. Watch. This a little hopefully get along alright because I was all myself first, but then one of the other guys dark. For the first month. Stay on my own. Yeah. So he'll be back and then there's another guy coming that he hired for May 20th. So after a couple weeks, and then he does his training and starts training the other guy. He's different than others. So when they go to Ontario, they'll be able to go together. So he's pretty excited. They'll probably come together. Yeah. No matter how to go there. He's always been we're all excited for college, probably in the fall there versus summer months. COVID is good for kids because they work on a hog. Harvard had like 40 grand in bank account. Money, but you work for that, just work right from January right straight through the next.
My daughter had a meeting and she told me on her master's. I don't know this year, I know last year she was $50,000. She was in university school.
Yeah, Harvard's always worked. See, all scholarships for school. He's stoked the other day because Colin College sent him a check for George Holden. They paid for his school. He already paid for it with people scholarship and stuff. So they sent him right here. And he's back. He's like, since you got paid for his school, little butter.
It's Karen. Yeah, you misspelled this.
Got this fella's on there.
Well, someone else probably put it in for him.
Hi, Connor. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Hey.
Hey.
So Fiona, the guest speaker, has a slideshow, and she was gonna set up from over here.
Yep. Might be, well, I know this cord, I think, goes to the screen.
Even, I can just set it, because we're gonna do it after the meal, so I can even just set it right here. They're supposed to bring in another podium for me, so.
I can, I guess, move wherever I need to.
Yeah, I don't wanna boot you out, but I walked in, I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Because they were already, like, they wanted me up there, which would be great if I could hook up there, but I can't. And I can't see, like, unless I put my glasses on. I don't want to wear my glasses when I'm doing my presentation. So I was just going to stand here with the podium and have the mic.
And it's just players here, so there's no like.
There's no parents.
Yeah, they're all upstairs. That's what he's doing. They're all upstairs in the bar watching.
Oh, are they? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get a longer table.
Hey, Connor, can they start being sound seated now?
If you're ready to go, we're ready to go.
Okay, so,
This is New Brunswick right here. If you want to start with them, I bet if you.
The red right there. Yep.
That's their coaching staff's right there.
Okay. Hey, hi everybody.
I'm gonna get out of here.
Come on in. Oh, we're at first. What's your name? Your kid Moses? No.
no.
Lauren, that was a quick no.
I don't know half of these people.
I don't know any of them. These girls get whacked, they stick at other people.
There should be. There's no reason. Out in that hallway somewhere.
You wouldn't be surprised.
No, they just Darcy got it just to chill out. By who's mom? Linda. All her shit's being used because they don't have one for Krista. So we need one for Krista.
We're finding you a chair, lady.
Linda, I can find it. I'll give mine up. Yeah, you would think. That's okay, I'll wait.
See, that's where Dennis is at? Yeah? Why do you work there too? My sympathies. So they're sitting here with the tables.
We've done that a lot this year.
We like to make it exciting.
We want to make it exciting for the fans.
No stressful.
Are you coming tomorrow morning? We'll try to make sure we don't leave for if people's missing church, we'll make sure.
Yeah, this should make an appearance. They're here. They're
get them taped down.
All those years. Never saw Brad Marshall. He never surfaced.
2. Can you all hear me? Good. We're going to get started. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, special guests, Hockey Canada and branch representatives, host committee, event supporters, family and friends, and to all the participating teams. My name is Phil Bridges. It is my pleasure to be your Master of Ceremonies and to officially welcome you to the 2022 Under-18 AAA Female Atlantic Hockey Championship Awards Dinner. Congratulations to all the teams on making it here to the Atlantics, battling teams all season, battling COVID all season. To be here, what a great accomplishment. Speaking of COVID, I was not supposed to be the Master of Ceremonies tonight. I got a call on Thursday asking if I would because the Master of Ceremonies is dealing with COVID. So I'm Plan B tonight, so hopefully stick with me. It is now my pleasure to introduce our branch representatives, guests for tonight's awards dinner. I know some of them are seated at their team's table, so maybe we'll ask them to stand as I introduce them. Representing Hockey PEI is Robin McCormick. Representing Hockey Newfoundland and Labrador is Jennifer Park. Representing Hockey New Brunswick is Darren Goller. And representing Hockey Nova Scotia, Paul Carroll. Events like this do not happen without local sponsors, so a big thank you for all the sponsors and their support. Also, thank you to the host committee, Chairperson Nicole DeRoche, and all her volunteers for hosting this great event. Most of them are probably upstairs, so cheer louder than that. Nicole DeRoche and her volunteers. Also, a very special welcome to this evening's guest speaker, Fiona Bell Smith. Over the past 3 days, the community has enjoyed some outstanding under-18 hockey. It is our pleasure to welcome tonight the participating teams. Representing Hockey Newfoundland and Labrador, the Eastern Icebreakers. Representing Hockey Nova Scotia, the Northern Subway Selects. Representing Hockey New Brunswick, the EDSA West Reds. Representing Hockey Prince Edward Island, the Central Storm. And of course, your host team, the Western Wind. Okay, enough of that, let's eat. It is a buffet, so we are going to call you up by team. The buffet is located over here. Connor is watching it closely. We'll start with the head table, and then we'll introduce the teams as they're ready. Help yourselves. You should wear your mask when you're going up through the line, and then you can remove it, of course, when you get back to the table.
Within like 3 days of each other. Good in a way, though. No.
No?
Well, not enough for a glass. But they wanted to make that we just play KI this year, but it makes it better. It's probably when you play the back, we're getting some big games. We didn't have a big game this year, but we would have played a little bit more to make up the difference. Considering last year we stopped really going really big delays, we got our season done, and this year we had a different way. It's a great game with that the other we're actually taking the team away next weekend. We're playing, they're in the tournament we're in, and there's 7 other teams besides us next weekend. So it'll be, I believe all the academics will be kind of very see through. I don't think there's too many of them. We've got a great group. You 17, 16 year olds, you might change your mind. They keep you on your toes.
Okay, the next team representing Hockey Nova Scotia, the Northern Subway Selects.
But I didn't want to go through that. We could have I watched him do that. Oh, yeah. They had a player on their team. And I felt bad.
Hopefully with Lucy there and having her there for maybe she'll be there for maybe 3 or 4 years. Hopefully she's swimming down to bring someone in that actually want to go there and play. Because I didn't want to play for Terry. I didn't want to play for Lawrence. I didn't want to play for Rick.
Okay, representing Hockey New Brunswick, the EDSA West Reds.
Big face in the camera.
But he's like such a baby. He's not, I don't know how he's gonna do it. He's not
Oh, yeah.
Insecure about the amount of
Okay, representing Hockey PEI, the Central Storm.
sandwich today.
Oh yeah, because the chickens.
It's the last one we have. And she told me that.
And finally, the great host that have allowed everyone else to eat first, the Western Wind.
You should have wiggled your way in between them all, and they would have.
I can think of watching live radio. No, next year oh my God! Yeah.
Okay, if there is anyone that is still hungry, you can go back up for seconds, okay? So. Okay, folks, for anyone looking for something sweet, there are some brownies up here. I believe the small plates are on this end. Help yourself. No, just go when you see the lineup getting down, the next few people can go.
Grabbed a couple coffees.
Oh, you're a good man.
I don't drink to spare.
You're a good man. You know me well.
Spare with the
I already had a brownie, and then they came out with cream, so I was like, oh, I
sisters are playing in the Banquet units, and they're all in Glasgow, so they'll probably be there with their parents. And then a couple others were busy or something. And some of them may have been talking about it. I was surprised that our whole team decided they wanted to go because there's so much hockey. But I'm glad that they did. It would be a great final thing to kick off and let them have fun. No, her whole family's going. I know they're all going. Here you go. Well, I said, but her dad said, oh my God, we would have loved it. I think they probably passed that tournament to get really cool. I'm sure you'll have a good time.
Let's have a big hand for the cooks and all the staff for that meal. I would now like to introduce our special guest speaker this evening. I'm sure all of the players out there at one time have thought about what it would be like to wear the maple leaf and represent Canada. Well, our special guest tonight has been able to do that on many occasions. She is the Atlantic head scout with Hockey Canada's national women's team. Member of the national women's hockey team from 1994 to 2002, winning 7 international gold medals, including 2 world championships in '97 and '99, and an Olympic silver medal in 1998 in Nagano, Japan. She captained Team Saskatchewan at the Canada Winter Games in 1991, played at 13 national championships provincially with Saskatchewan and Alberta, won the bronze medal at the National Fastball Championships and gold at the Western Canadian Fastball Championships, and first All-Star second base in the Alberta Junior League. Extensive coaching and development experience in both female and male minor hockey programs, from grassroots to international levels, including being an athlete mentor for Team Germany in 2007. She has HB1 certification and also currently part of Master Coach Development Program with Hockey Canada. Currently a power skating skills coach in Bedford Minor Hockey Association. She was inducted into the Saskatchewan Hockey Hall of Fame in 2017. Inducted into the Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame in 2012. Inducted in North Battleford Sports Hall of Fame in 2008. She moved to Fall River from Saskatchewan in the summer of 2018 with her husband and 2 boys, Keegan and Jackson. It is our pleasure to welcome tonight's special guest, Fiona Smith-Bell.
Hope you can hear me. Okay. Thank you, Phil. First of all, I want to just congratulate all the players for making it to the Atlantic Championships. I know that it's been a trying few years for everybody in hockey, and so it's nice to actually get together again and get back to some normalcy. Also, a big thank you to all of the volunteers, and I think as athletes, it's not that we didn't appreciate it, but you sometimes take things for granted and you don't realize the hours and hours that go into the volunteer time. So Nicole, Darcy, I don't know all of the names, but I know that you have been working very, very hard, not only just this weekend, but leading up to this, and Connor, and as well as our Tyne Valley Association. The hospitality, I have to say, is second to none, and it always is when it comes to the Maritimes. I'm a prairie girl, so it really does feel like home to me. And in fact, last night driving home from the rink, it really felt like home. First of all, just that small town feel, and seeing everybody just pile into the rink to support their local team. And when I was driving back to the hotel, I thought, who's that driving behind me? Because the lights were fairly close together. And I realized, and they're really coming up on me, and I was doing the speed limit because I really didn't know the highways that well. And here it's a quad. Oh my gosh, this is so much like home. Like you're not used to seeing a quad. And then this morning on the way to the rink, I saw a side-by-side on the highway. That just, you know, it doesn't happen where I am now in the Maritimes, where I moved and lived in some big cities in Ottawa and Winnipeg and Edmonton, Calgary. You just don't see that. So anyway, I'll get into my speech here, and I thought it was a little bit fitting. Just, I know a lot of you obviously are from small towns, and I just wanted to kind of talk about my journey and how I got to where I was. So a career in 6 photos. You can tell there that I wasn't overly thrilled with that photo right there. I started off as a figure skater. You can see that it probably didn't last that long. I was pretty bored, yawning away. I think it was that picture that my parents realized that it was time to let me play hockey. So this is just a few more. I'll talk about that picture later on. And that's a World Championship picture, and then that is at one of the Hall of Fame dinners. So, beginnings. I grew up in a small town, a community in Saskatchewan called Edam, Saskatchewan. Has anybody heard of Edam? Didn't think so. Okay, so a whopping population of 450 people. We have a few stop signs, no traffic lights. And then in 1987, we ended up relocating our family. My dad was a doctor in the community, and he moved his practice 45 minutes into a bigger city called North Battleford. Has anybody heard of North Battleford? Okay, good. So, as I said, my father was a doctor, GP, and sports med, and he was very actively involved in the community, and he answered an ad in the paper one day, and that's how he ended up in Canada. He was from Scotland. My mom was a nurse from from Newcastle, and I'm the youngest of 3 kids. I have an older brother that played pro hockey over in Europe and played in the WHL a little bit. My sister is 10 years older. She did not, she was a figure skater, so a figure skater and a badminton player. So
So I talked about this earlier, about the great sense of community that I felt last night, and that's where it was growing up in Edam, that it was just like one big family. My dad was heavily involved in the community, as well as my mom. My mom was the president of the skating club. Dad was the mayor. He had a rink key to the rink, and as you know, in small towns, back in the day, I know that we've got some very, very young girls here, but we could pretty much go and have unstructured time on the rink. My mom built the backyard rink, and in Saskatchewan, especially, I think this year too, they still have snow there, so sometimes those rinks last a little bit longer. And unfortunately, my boys never got to experience a backyard rink very much, and although I really love the weather in the Maritimes compared to Saskatchewan, but yeah, I'm exaggerating a little bit, like 10 months is a little bit much, but it felt like that the ice lasted a lot longer. So I chased my brother and friends around the rink, and a lot of times I raised that Stanley Cup, whether it was on the front yard, backyard rink, local arena, and I pretended that I was going to the NHL, because that was my dream as a young girl, because women's hockey basically wasn't an option for me at that time. I did later on have some female role models, and some of our coaches might know the name Shirley Cameron. Shirley Cameron is a very great mentor in Alberta, was inducted into the Alberta Sports Hockey Hall of Fame. I played actually against her on the Edmonton Chimos at one point in time, and then she ended up being my coach. Unlike today, we have Marie-Philippe Poulin, we have Blair Turnbull, obviously, everybody knows who Blair is, and Jill Saunier. And while I'm saying that right now, I just want to give a shout out, because as we know, and I know we have parents upstairs, the hours and hours that go in to driving your kids to the rink, and just to see Mr. Turnbull, Ron Turnbull, still giving back to the game. I want to congratulate you. I know that it was a tough year not being able to be at the Olympics to watch your daughter win gold, but it makes me so proud to see you still giving back to the game. Where are you? I want you to stand up. We've only met on one occasion, but it's so great to see you still on the bench coaching. So as I was saying, I dreamed of winning that Stanley Cup, but obviously it wasn't a reality to me. One of my role models too was Mark Messier. I loved the Moose and the Edmonton Oilers. So when I started playing, I ended up basically starting at the age of 4. And I do know at that time it was a fight to get me on the team. I was the only girl in actually the whole league that was playing, and I had the opportunity, because as you know, in small towns sometimes you have to call players up in order to make the numbers work, and I ended up being able to play with my brother's team. So, and then when we moved to North Battleford, I did have the opportunity on the boys team to also captain that team in the PBAA. And after that, it's kind of when I started to somewhat get noticed. I played every sport under the sun, which is very, very important. I'm sure we have a lot of multi-sport athletes in this room. Unfortunately, at times now we see that we're getting away from that. And we're playing the same sport 12 months out of the year. And I just think that, you know, and I'm sure that Connor can attest to this, because he's got a lot of coaching experience and playing experience, that we're seeing more injuries in the game now. And I think it's because we're not resting. We're not resting properly. And we're not taking that time at the end of the season to recover, and we're on the ice 12 months out of the year. So, and with my boys too, they don't skate all through the summer. The one is starting to skate more now in the summer, but he never did growing up through the minor hockey ranks. How many of you, I'm going to ask you a question here, how many of you have ever had a dream, and this goes for the adults too, that you might have been watching something on TV, and it doesn't have to be sport, and you had a dream that, you know, you saw it, and I want to do that one day, I want to go to the Olympics, or, you know, I'm sure everybody's had a dream that was so cool and was like, I want to do that, I want to do that one day. Put your hand up. Nobody's putting their hand up, I'm sure we all have. So, my first vision of going to the Olympics was watching It was way back in Calgary, and I'm really dating myself into 1988, and I remember watching the speed skating, because women's hockey obviously wasn't in the Olympics at that time, and I was watching speed skating, and I loved it. And I loved the Olympics, so I was running home from school. We only got 2 stations at that time, CBC, and I would just watch the Olympics from start to finish, and I just remember being so fascinated by the speed skating. And skating was somewhat of a strength of mine, and my dad ended up coming one day after work, and he had placed a piece of paper on the table in front of me. And he said, Fiona, there's the Saskatchewan Winter Games coming up. Women's hockey's not in it. Badminton was in it, but I wasn't really too keen on going into badminton at the Saskatchewan Winter Games. He said, why don't you give speed skating a try? So at that time, I'm 13 years old. I think that 2 weeks is a long time. I got lots of time to train. 2 weeks is all I had. I had no coach. I hired my mom as a coach. We had a key to the rink. So every morning before school for those 2 weeks, leading up, there was no tryout. You just put your name in and you're going to the Saskatchewan Winter Games, get your tracksuit, and it was my first time I'd ever had a tracksuit on. Anyway, so my mom timed me. That's all she did. She had a stopwatch. She timed me, and it was unsophisticated training, but it was training nonetheless. I didn't have a coach that even taught me anything, how to start. So I remember here I am, I'm actually now in Yorkton, Saskatchewan at the Saskatchewan Winter Games. I step on the ice, and I was with some other girls from North Battleford. We were still living in Edam at the time. And I remember getting called up to the start line, and I know all you athletes are very, very focused. I didn't really pay attention too much to what was going on around me other than, you know what, I know I gotta get to the start line. I was so nervous. I remember my arms and legs were just shaking. So I get up to the start line, and all of a sudden it just kind of came over me. I'm like, I don't know how to start. Like, my coach, Mom, never taught me how to start properly. So I get up, and it was short track speed skating. So you're in a local, like just a small local arena. So I get up to the red line, and I line up, and I look to the left, and I look to the right, and I thought, what have I got myself into? Everybody on the team that I was a part of, what do you think we had on for skates? Hockey skates. We had some girls on our team that had figure skates, but we had the Saskatoon Speed Skating Club that Katrina LeMay-Doan, who was a multi-Olympian, was a part of. She wasn't at the Saskatchewan Games, but so here's Fiona. That's me. I'm getting ready to go in my competition for the speed skating. No speed skates on, and I thought, oh my gosh, I want to crawl off the ice right now. I was so embarrassed because I was in the first heat, so my other teammates hadn't gone yet. And you can see that the teammate beside me, I didn't really know her. Like, we just kind of, you put your name in and you get to go. So the whistle, or the gun goes off, and I took off, and I thought, okay, I just got to get one race done. I'm not going to quit. And I ended up placing second in that heat. And I thought, okay, maybe I should continue. Well, in the competition, I ended up placing 8th out of 32, which wasn't too bad. The rest of them that were ahead of me had speed skates on. And I had somebody approach me asking if I wanted to be involved in speed skating after. But as you know, a team sport is so much different. And I belonged on a team. I wanted to be in that team environment. So I just kept on playing hockey, hoping that one day that I might get that opportunity to take my game further. And as Phil had mentioned, I'm not going to go over all of this, but I had the opportunity to be a part of the first ever Canada Winter Games team, and it's pretty neat now that when you come back and we've moved back to the Maritimes that I still keep in touch with my teammates. I was at the University Nationals just a few weeks ago and took a picture because that's where we were on campus. I had the opportunity to compete at the first ever Canada Winter Games in 1991. So Team Canada, you know what, it was a grind, and after the Canada Winter Games is kind of when the doors really started to open up for me, where the scouts were out and about, and I was getting offers from schools to go to NCAA. At that time, I was a real homebody. I didn't want to leave home to go too far. And also I knew that, you know, Team Canada was just kind of, women's hockey was just starting to being built, and they were talking about it being in the Olympics at one point in time, and so I decided to stay in Canada. I knew our scouting system wasn't overly strong as it is today. So I stayed in Canada. My first camp that I ever went to was in 1993 for the 1994 World Championships, and I remember being so nervous going there. There was only, one or two of us from Saskatchewan, and after I got there after a few days, but I remember thinking, I don't belong here. Like, you're doubting yourself because you have like 15 people from Ontario and, a couple from each province. And by the end, I started to believe in myself that, you know what, I can do this. I really believe that I can do this. So they call you into a room. It's a lot different now. We're in a hotel. They call you down to your room with your coaches that are sitting there, and they tell you whether you made it. And honestly, by the end of that week, I thought, you know what, I'm going. I'm going to be on this world team. But the last game, and I need to tell this story because there's something that happened just recently. The coach pulled me aside in the hallway before my last game. It was Les Lawton, head coach, and I'm not throwing him under the bus because there's something else to add to it, but he said to me, Fiona, and I knew there was something going on. He kept on putting me up against another player. And it was always Smith, Pounder. And so, and that was in the last practice leading up to the game, he said, you have to have the game of your life today. How do you think you would play if a coach comes up to you and says, you have to have the game of your life today? Sorry, I'm gonna say it, I shit my pants. It was like, oh my gosh. He's telling me that I have to have the game of my life. I was so nervous. I stepped on the ice and I was like, where is he? He's in the stands, he's right there. Okay, I gotta get off the ice, make a play, get off the ice. So, I ended up being the last defenseman cut. It was one of the hardest phone calls I had ever made to my parents. I went to a payphone, you don't know what payphones are. Phoned my mom and dad to tell them, and I couldn't even get the words out. I was devastated. Took me a few days. I remember getting my first ever interview on CBC radio. They phoned me, wanted to talk to me, and the first words the reporter said, CBC phone, was, how did you feel? What was your experience like, and how did you feel when those words came out of your coach's mouth that you didn't make the team? How do you think I felt? I was devastated. So I started bawling on the radio. I was so young. Anyway, but you know what? It was almost at that time that it sparked a flame in me. And I didn't really know what training was about. So I went back home, I got a gym membership, I was by myself in the workout room, in the weight room, most of the time in our local community in North Battleford. When my friends were out, they were out partying, I'd be their driver. If they needed a driver, they'd phone me. But anyway, it did end up paying off, and Les Lawton was just here at Nationals just a few weeks ago. And he's a tremendous man. He's been involved with Concordia hockey for many, many years, and he's just gone through a stroke. And anyway, his health isn't that great, and he came up to me, and every time I see him, he always comes up to me to chat, but he was wanting me to go to Concordia at that time. And in hindsight now, I wish I would have gone. I went to school in Saskatchewan to take a rec and leisure degree, but he said to me, just like I said, just a few weeks ago, Fiona, he said, you know what, I need to tell you something. I had no idea this was going to come out of his mouth. And he said, you were one of my favorite players. And I said, but you cut me. Why did you cut me then? So it's been kind of bugging me all this time. He said, it wasn't me. Anyway, I won't go any further, but it was just kind of funny that he ended up saying that to me. But honestly, I think it was one of the best things for me because it put me in another gear. So I went on, and as you can see, hockey, or the World Championships aren't every year anymore, or at that time they are now. So we had a lot of international competitions where we'd always play against the US. And on the Olympic team, leading up to the Olympics, we had never ever lost an international competition other than leading, I guess, right in there. We had, it was called the Three Nations Cup. First time we had ever won, and I say won, a silver medal, lost in the final game. We're at the Olympics, everybody's, the papers already had us pegged as winning the gold medal. It was all Canada, they've never lost an international competition, they're gonna come back with this gold medal. Like, the pressure on us was enormous. Well, everybody knows, our parents here are upstairs, the young girls might not know. We ended up, I say, losing in the final game. And we go back to the Olympic Village, we're just devastated. We are absolutely devastated. We don't want to come home. We don't want to fly back from Japan and be greeted at the airport like you see the Olympic athletes, whether they won a medal or not, there's family always waiting for them. We had never lost. We didn't know what it was like to lose. When we got back to the athletes' village, there was a speed skater there that was so excited and ran up to us, and we're still bawling our eyes out because we're upset. And it was at that moment that it really put things into perspective. She said, you girls must be so excited. You just won the first ever medal for Canada. Like, first ever for women's hockey. And we said, well, thanks, but you know what? We were hoping for gold. And she said, oh my gosh. And she basically said, suck it up. Do you know how many athletes train and train and train to become Olympians and never get that opportunity? And how many Olympians go to the Olympics and maybe, you know, miss a medal by 0.1 of a second, or, you know, and I think it was at that moment that it really put things into perspective, and it also put women's hockey on the map. And it needed to happen. It needed to happen to take our game to another level. And as you can see this year, our game has just gotten better and better and better every single year. And in my opinion, what Troy Ryan and Gina Kingsbury and our coaching staff, not myself, not our scouts that were there before had brought some of these, like a lot of our players in, but what they did is they took our game to a whole new level that I have never, ever witnessed. The speed of our game, the way the girls are shooting the puck, they're playing with so much speed and they're playing with confidence. And I think that goes a long way. And I see it on your faces too when you girls are out there playing. We never smiled when we played. Like, it was just like, you know, we didn't relax. And you would see in the Olympics this year, how many times when that camera was on our girls, they were smiling, they were having fun. And that was the culture that Gina Kingsbury, and bless Mel, she has done a wonderful job. We won so many gold medals, but I just saw a difference this year. Mel brought that team a long, long way, and then when she was ready to hand it over to Gina, who was a former player, I don't know if you all felt the same way when you watched it, but it was pretty spectacular to watch. In 2002, I ended up being centralized. So in a centralization year, you all moved to Calgary. A lot of us at that time were working full-time jobs. I was working as a letter carrier with Canada Post, had to take a leave of absence. I ended up suffering a really bad concussion in 1999 at the World Championships. And honestly, to this day, I often will talk about this when I used to speak for the RBC Olympians program and how important it is for athletes, when you are injured, you need to be honest. You need to take the time to recover properly, because I honestly feel that I could have gone a couple more years had I been honest with myself and honest with my staff. After my concussion, I was telling my table tonight, they were asking me to count backwards from 100 by sevens. I said, I can't do that on a good day. So what I did was, and it was totally wrong, we didn't have a whole lot of testing back then. I ended up writing it down on a piece of paper. Tom Rennie was there at the time, and I remember coming into breakfast one morning, and he said, Fiona, you look awful. Like, it was a bad, bad concussion, but I wanted to play so badly in that semifinal and gold medal game, because it happened at the pre-world competition, that I was willing to do anything that I could to get back on the ice, and it was the wrong thing to do, because it shortened my career because I wasn't honest with myself. But yeah, I wrote down back from 100s to sevens. So then when they asked me, I was like, oh yeah, I can just ramble them off, right? Hey Fiona, you're back in. That was the protocol back then. So I ended up retiring, being one of the last ones cut in 2002. And the one thing that I want to talk about too is role changes. When you go on different teams, when I played on, you know, my local teams and the Edmonton Chimos, I was a goal scorer and playing forward, and then sometimes playing D, and then you go to the national team and your role completely changes, where I was more of a defensive player on the PK unit, never touched the power play. And probably if you saw my hands, you would know why. Uh-oh. It's frozen here. Connor's my techie guy. So this is just kind of a few pictures that I'll just speak very briefly about, and then I'll talk about scouting and what we look for in scouts. So in a small town, it's quite comical because a lot of girls live in Ontario or bigger cities, and you can relate to this. I mean, the other day we were driving back from Cape Breton, and my husband said, "There's Blair." And I said, "Where's Blair?" "She's up on the Sobe sign." And then we ended up stopping at the rink to watch the U18 AAA Subarus play against, it's a Weeks, I believe. And Rob said it, or I said to Rob, as my husband, we were walking up the stairs, I said, "There's Blair right there." And he said, "Well, why don't you go say hi to her?" I said, "I can't, she's on the wall." So you can relate to that, you know what, they kind of embrace you, and, and that's in Saskatchewan, where there's signs, you come in and it's home of, this player, home of that player. So that was unveiled after I had gone to the Olympics. And then these are my two little guys with the Olympic torch. So after sport, there's so many opportunities still in the game, and I had the opportunity to carry the torch and light the cauldron. The bottom two pictures where you see Geraldine Heaney. Geraldine Heaney is a fantastic hockey player, Canadian icon on our women's team. And that's the reason why I'm in the Maritimes, is in 2016 she was inducted into the Order of Hockey in Canada with Mario Lemieux, and they were allowed to fly 4 teammates in. And so it was Cassie Campbell, myself, Sherry Piper, who is now our head scout, and Amanda Benoit. So we all came. It was my first time in Halifax, and anyway, that's why we ended up moving here, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in the next slide. Gretzky, that's a pretty special picture. We had a first ever combined men's women's photo in the NHL when the NHL was playing in '98. And I always listened to my coach. I was a pleaser. I didn't want to upset my coach. But before this picture was taken, they always told me that I was kind of like, we didn't have digital cameras. We just had the point shoot with the film. And I had my camera everywhere. So they would actually, Hockey Canada would take my film and develop it, and then they would put it on the website, because computers were just kind of, we were just starting to get into that where we were posting pictures. So they said, "We're playing against the US right after this game. The NHLPA has the rights to these photos. Nobody can take their cameras on the ice." And I'm like, when am I ever going to get a chance to be on the ice with Gretzky in my gear? So a few of us didn't listen to our coach, and I shoved my camera down my hockey pants. And my equipment manager, as we're skating off the ice, and also they had to stop the picture. I was one of the smallest player on the team. And if you ever see that combined photo, I was beside Brennan Shanahan, I believe, and Trevor Linden, I think. And they actually stopped the picture. The photographer said, "Excuse me, but the girl in the second or third row, she needs a box." They went and got me a box to stand on so that I could actually just come up basically to his waist. So I'm pretty happy that I didn't listen to my coach that day and was able to get that picture. Life after competition, we've kind of talked about that already in the introduction. So family, the reason why we're out here is my husband is an RCMP officer, and we moved here 4 years ago, but I only agreed to come here because I had been to the beautiful Maritimes for Geraldine Heaney. I have a boy, Kian, and a son, Jackson. Kian, his story is a little bit unique, and I'll just go through this quickly. He was playing baseball, competitive baseball, both my boys were, when we moved here. And we got here too late for him to try out for U18 major midget. So he was contemplating whether he was going to continue playing hockey or not. There was a U16 AAA minor midget team that is still, it's very well established now. He ended up playing on that team, being affiliated with the Subarus, and was the only forward in that league that ended up being drafted in the QMJHL. So this year he ended up making his debut as a rookie He played his 10 affiliate games last year, and so he's living away from home at a billets right now. This is a special picture of my youngest, and I put the Atlantic picture up there right now because if you ask my youngest boy, he loves his sports, but he's not, they're very different kids. As you know, a lot of parents, we don't have, a lot of the kids are very different in their interests. That picture right there, winning the Atlantic Championships, he will say, and I guarantee you, like 15 years from now, he will say, Mom, that was my favorite year that I ever had. And I didn't know what the Atlantics were because in Saskatchewan you win provincials and then you either go on or you're done. So now this gets me into the scouting. I know that many of you might have some questions, so I just wanted to kind of let you know how our scouting runs. So we have 8 scouts currently across Canada. I'm the Atlantic scout, and unfortunately this year with COVID, it's kind of thrown a wrench in plans. I also work full-time as a letter carrier, and I'm away, basically a lot of times I'm away most weekends, and then trying to catch my boys if I can at the rink as well. Our senior manager of scouting and player development is Sherry Piper. She was just hired last year when Mel ended up getting a different job and leaving Hockey Canada. Over the course of a year, in a non-COVID year, and we're watching a lot of games online too. A lot of people don't realize that we're watching you. We're watching you online too. So just because you don't see me in the rink, it doesn't mean that we're not able to see you. And one thing I would like to see, and I don't know if there's anybody here that's a part of the U18, the leagues, but Instat. Like the boys have Instat, but I haven't seen Instat with this group yet. But we meet every month on a Zoom call, talk about players, and then we also meet twice a year at camps. But I'll be, this next few months, they're quite busy. I'm not able to make all the camps, so there are some scouts that are flying in for me to take my position. I unfortunately lost my mother just a few weeks ago, and I have to fly home for her funeral, but she would be very upset if she knew that we were going to pull Kean from hockey, because he's still playing, although they're not having a great year. So we are going to wait till he's done and then head back. So one of my scouts is going to cover a couple of them. Key areas for scouts, so I just kind of, obviously we do broaden this a little bit, but these are some of the things that we do look for. Obviously skating. Skating is huge. Are you agile? Do you play with speed? So when you get that puck on your stick, are you able to maintain that speed when you have the puck on your stick? Individual puck skills, shooting, work ethic and compete level, hockey sense, offensive team play, and I added body language there because I watch, and I know a lot of scouts do this too, but I'll watch you. If you've made a mistake, we don't have perfect games. Nobody has a perfect game. I'm okay with you making a mistake, but it's what you do when you come out that next shift, or when you go to the bench. Do you slam your stick? Do you throw your shoulders down? Or do you rise above it and you come out and you have a fantastic shift the next shift? So I put that in there. Pet peeves. Skaters with long hair. You probably saw my mullet back in my baseball or my fastball days. So my hair was longer too, and I would tie it back, but a lot of times now, if there's no name bar, most of you do have name bars on your jerseys, but long hair covering the jersey numbers. It's very, very hard, or tucked in. It's very difficult for us to see the numbers. And with administrators, when you're making jerseys, try and get the numbers on the sleeves too. Not just the back, get them on the sleeves. And inaccurate lineups, we see that quite often. Goaltending, does she stop the puck? Obviously, that's pretty important. You got to stop the puck. Rebound control and recovery, do you recover well, come back to your post? Battle mentality and compete. Game sense, positional play, do you challenge? Are you too deep in your net? Athleticism. I can tell a lot of athletes when I'm watching them if they've played different sports. And you can really see that in goaltenders as well. Skating, increased movement. You play the puck, communication is huge. One last thing here, opportunities. There are so many opportunities, girls, in the game now. And I talked about goals and kind of that goal that I had to get to the Olympics. It doesn't just relate to sport. I saw a lot of you, you had your pictures posted talking about, you know, what you want to do for your post-secondary. That's a goal, right? You're in control of your own destiny. And there are so many opportunities where you could actually get your education paid for and still play the game that you love. So I have the Atlantics here, Canada Winter Games coming up, huge. I'll be here, I have my week off of work. All of our scouts will be here next February in PEI. The PWHPA, they've just announced, it's pretty exciting that the girls are now gonna get paid and paid fairly well. The PHF, I only added that, that's another league. We're hoping that we can see that league combined to sustain just one league. And then I have the NCAA up there, and U Sports, and I also just want to touch briefly on, I'm proud of all of you for staying in your communities. I'm seeing so many players that leave, and a lot of them, I'm going to be honest with you, there's some that I haven't even seen play this year, but I've seen almost all of you locally, with the exception of a few teams just because of COVID, that are here. And you know there's opportunities. I'm getting calls from some NCAA scouts. Have you seen this player? Have you seen this player? What do you think of this player? I have U Sports where they contact me, and you know, I don't tell them who we're looking at, but I do give them feedback if they ask on certain players. So I think that's, you know, that says a lot about you. It says a lot about your parents that you don't have to go away anymore to be recognized. If you're good enough, you're going to be noticed. So don't feel like, your parents don't feel like you have to spend, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars to go away. Opportunities, officiating. I wish that I would have got into officiating when I was younger. Funny story, I was just working with our girls. I was actually their outside of their bubble runner when the Worlds were supposed to be hosted in Halifax. But at their pre-camp, I was inside the bubble, and Gina phoned me the one day. Gina Kingsbury is our head with Hockey Canada, and she said, "Fiona, have you ever officiated before? Because we need you to officiate." I said, "I've never officiated in my life." She said, "Well, we have to be inside the bubble. We can't bring any refs in, and you're still on the ice all the time. I don't think I'm in decent shape, but compared to some others, I guess," she said, "you're in better shape than some of our other staff." I was the head ref for a world comp. These girls were still vying for a spot on the world team. I think every athlete that has played at a high level needs to go back to have that appreciation for officiating. Do we have our officiators here, or the refs here? Anyway, you need to do it. Just try it once. Coaching, there's so many opportunities to get into coaching. Hockey schools, go out and be a volunteer. Get out on the ice. You're a role model right now for all those little girls and boys. I saw some boys high-fiving you as you're going onto the ice. It's awesome. It's awesome to see. So you see the role models that we have here, and we have some pretty darn good role models in the Maritimes. One of like I said, the dad that's sitting right here in Troy, he was supposed to be here tonight. He said he was going to come and chirp me. Well, I wish he was here because I was going to chirp him. Anyway, thank you very much. I want to wish all of you the best of luck. Best of luck tomorrow. May the best team win, and good luck in Okotoks at the SO Cup to the winning team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fiona. At this time, I'd like to call up the captain of the Western Wind, Chloe Delaney. Chloe has a presentation to make to Fiona. Coach Morency would be surprised to hear that she was too shy to speak. Once again, let's hear it for Fiona Smith-Bell. U22 Under-18 AAA Female Atlantic Hockey Championships. These awards are based on the round-robin segment of the championship. An awards committee was established that watched all round-robin games and have selected the winners of each award. Awards will be presented in the following categories: top scorer, top goalie, top defense, top forward, and the most valuable player. At this time, I'd like to call upon Paul Carroll, representing Hockey Nova Scotia, to come forward. Paul is going to present the Top Scorer Award. The Top Scorer Award goes to the individual or individuals who accumulated the most points during the round-robin segment of the competition. This year's Top Scorer Award is presented to, from the Northern Subway Selects, Sarah Stewart. Congratulations, Sarah. I'd now like to call upon Darren Galler, representing Hockey New Brunswick. Darren is going to present the Top Goaltender Award. The Top Goaltender Award is awarded to the netminder, judged to be the most outstanding through round-robin play. This year's winner of the Top Goaltender Award is from the EDSA West Reds, Christy Michaud. Congratulations, Christy. Now I would like to call upon Robin McCormick, representing Hockey PEI, who will present the Top Defenseman Award. The Top Defenseman Award is presented to the player judged to be the best performer at the defense position during the round-robin games of this tournament. The winner of the Top Defenseman Award is from the Northern Subway Selects, Bree McPherson. Now I'd like to call upon Jennifer Park, representing Hockey Newfoundland, to present the Top Forward Award. The Top Forward is presented to the player judged to be the most outstanding at the forward position during the round-robin portion of this tournament. The winner of the Top Forward Award is from the Northern Subway Selects, Brooke Thompson. Congratulations, Brooke. Our next award is the ESSO Scholarship Award. we would like to call upon Mr. Connor Cameron, representing Hockey Canada, to present the award. Each team had nominated 2 players. The winner of this award will receive a $500 check from Esso. This award is presented to a player who best demonstrates the following: academic excellence, community involvement, role model characteristics, and a positive attitude, and has demonstrated future career planning. The winner of the 2022 Esso Scholarship is from the EDSA West Reds, Ella Lawrence. Congratulations, Ella. Before we present our final award, there's a couple of people I do want to introduce to you. First of all, over here is the president of the Tyne Valley Minor Hockey Association, Jared Caldwell, and this is the first major event in their new arena. What a fantastic job. Also, we have royalty with us now. We have the mayor of Tyne Valley. Mr. Jeff Noy, and at one time I believe he was the world champion oyster shucker. And after we present our final award, he is going to be shucking some oysters. So anyone that would like to come up and try some PEI oysters, you're going to be more than welcome to do so. Okay, our final award of the night is the most valuable player. And I'm going to ask Fiona to please come forward to make that presentation. The Most Valuable Player Award is presented to the player judged to be the most outstanding player during round-robin play. In addition to their award, the winner will also receive a $500 award. The winner of the Most Valuable Player Award for 2022 Under-18 AAA Atlantic Championships is from the Northern Subway Selects, Sarah Stewart. Chairperson of the host committee, Nicole Darage. Let's hear it from Nicole. That concludes the presentation of the tournament awards. Congratulations to all the award winners. We ask that at the conclusion of the evening, the award winners please come forward to the stage following for a group photo of the award winners. And as all the under-18 AAA female teams are aware, it takes a lot of support from the corporate community to operate a U18 franchise. At this time, the host Western Wind would like to take this opportunity to recognize and thank their sponsors. And it is certainly a long list, but I'm going to go through it as quickly as I can because they deserve to have their name mentioned for supporting women's hockey for sure. A&E Foundation, Alberton Bakery, Alberton Minor Hockey Association, Arsenault Sawmill, Atlantic Beef Products, AWL Forest Products, Chucky's, or Chucky Cooperatives, Dan McDonald, Cox and Palmer, Dairy Farmers and PEI, Double Eagle Indoor Golf, Ellerslie Right Stop, Elmsdale Corner Gas Station, Evangeline Minor Hockey Association, Family Traditions, Five Star Shellfish, George Smith and Sons Plumbing and Heating, Gillis Plumbing and Heating, H&P Glover Inc., HF Stewart's, Investors Group, Island Artisan Cheese House Limited, J. Leonard McNeil's, JC Salon, Kenny's Dairy Bar, L&S Marketing Limited, Leo A. McNeil Construction, Maritime Electric, Maritime Interiors Limited, Myers Welding Inc., Napa Auto Parts, On the Go Property Maintenance, PEI Cupcakes, Port Hill Farms Inc., Richard's Quality Auto Repair, Robert and Joan Linkletter, Robert Arsenault, Sean's Home Improvement, Shirley's Cafe, Sport Check, Starbucks, Summerside Auto, Summerside Butcher Shop, They Shoot, They Score, Draws, Turk the Lance, Tyne Valley Minor Hockey Association, Western Wind Online Auction, Wilfred Smith, and Hardy's Channel Fish Co-op. In closing, we want to express our thanks first to the participating teams for the outstanding level of skill and sportsmanship you have provided this week. To the tournament sponsors, without your support, the event simply could not have been a success. A big thank you again to the Mill River Resort for hosting us tonight and providing the banquet meal. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes this evening's program for the 2022 U18 AAA Female Atlantic Hockey Championships Awards Dinner. Of course, a couple big games coming up tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, the bronze medal game with Central Storm versus the Western Wind, and at 12 o'clock, the gold medal game with the EDSA Reds and the Northern Subway Selects. Again, former world champion oyster shucker and mayor of Tyne Valley is going to be right up here shucking oysters. You're more than welcome to please come up and get shucked in, as Nicole says. Other than that, everyone please have a safe trip back to your home province, and good luck tomorrow. Fiona has also said that she does have her Olympic medal and World Championships medal here, if you want to come over to the table and see them.